Namo Lokeshvaraya.
All the scenes of Dharma neither come nor go, to help wandering beings or effort to show to the Supreme Guru and Savior Chinrezi. With respectful three doors, I prostrate constantly.
The perfect Buddha, source of health and happiness, our born wealth of Dharma has been accomplished, and since that depends upon knowing what to do, the Bodhisattva's practice I'll explain to you.
When the rare ship of freedom and riches is won, for us and others to cross samsara's ocean, without any neglect, both the day and night through. To hear, think, and train is what Bodhisattvas do. To our close kith and kin, like water passion sways. To our distant enemies, like fire hatred's blaze. Forgetting discernment, dark ignorance ensues. To cast off homelands is what Bodhisattvas do. Afflictions slowly fade when bad places are shunned. Virtue easily grows where there's no distractions. With clear mind, trust in the Dharma is produced. To stay secluded is what Bodhisattvas do. From each and every dear companion we will part. We will leave possessions for which we strive so hard. Their bodies, guest house, their guest consciousness will lose. To renounce this life is what Bodhisattvas do. When certain people with free poisons increase, your thinking and training decline and grow weak. Love and compassion become completely removed. To give up bad friends is what Bodhisattvas do. When attending special people, faults are consumed. Qualities increase like the waxing of the moon. To cherish sublime teachers with greater value. Then our own body is what Bodhisattvas do. Within samsara's dungeons, they themselves are chained. So who do worldly gods have the power to save? Thus in the three jewels undeceiving refuge. To go for shelter is what Bodhisattvas do. The heart to bear our lower sufferings. Shakyamuni taught they are the fruit of bad deeds. Therefore even at the cost of our lives to choose to never do wrong is what Bodhisattvas do. The pleasures of the three realms are light to our grasp. They fall to peril in a momentary flash. For the unchanging state of freedom absolute. To seek and to strive is what Bodhisattvas do. Since beginningless time must they have had love for. What good is happiness when our mothers suffer? To free infinite beings by giving birth to. The enlightened mind is what Bodhisattvas do. From desire for pleasure all suffering springs forth. From thoughts to help others complete Buddhas are born. To take others' pain as we fully substitute. Our own happiness is what Bodhisattvas do. Even if those by force of greedy obsession steal or have stolen all our wealth and possessions, to offer them our bodies, wealth, and all virtues. Within the three times is what Bodhisattvas do. Even without having done the slightest of faults. If people come along and cut our heads right off, through compassion's power to take their non-virtues. All upon ourselves is what Bodhisattvas do. Even if about us people speak vicious words, and proclaim them across the entire universe, with the pure heart of love to express through and through. All their qualities is what bodhisattvas do. At gatherings of masses, even people expose all our hidden faults and call us evil, recognizing them as our teachers of virtue. To bow with respect is what bodhisattvas do, even if those for whom we have cared like our child look upon us as if we are their arch rivals, like a mother for her children stricken with the flu. To love them still more is what bodhisattvas do, even if equal or inferior beings under power of pride degrade us and demean, to show respect for them as we would our guru. Receive on our crowns is what bodhisattvas do. Destitute and by people forever despised, stricken by villains and demons in our lives, still the sin and pain of all beings to assume. With courageous hearts is what bodhisattvas do, although famous and revered by many beings, with the great fortune like the god of wealth achieved, to see the grandeurs of existence have no truth, and not be haughty is what bodhisattvas do. If our enemy of hatred has not been tamed, our foes may be vanquished and still escalate, with armies of love and compassion to subdue. Our own stream of mind is what bodhisattvas do. Salty water and sense pleasures are much the same. However much enjoy, thirsts grow and never fade. All things by which longing and desire are produced, to cast off at once is what bodhisattvas do. Whatever the appearance, it is our own mind. Mind's nature transcends time, substance, primeval time. Attributes of something grasping one, grasping two. Not to form in mind is what bodhisattvas do. We're meeting with objects so lovely to the mind, just like rainbows that appear in the summertime. Beautiful things appear, yet see they have no truth. To give up desires is what bodhisattvas do. All agonies are like our child's death in a dream. With illusions as real, we grow weary. When situations of adversity ensue, to see illusion is what bodhisattvas do. We must give our lives for enlightenment. To outer objects really need to be mentioned, with no hope, reward, or karma to bear fruit. To be generous is what bodhisattvas do. If without discipline our goal is not reached, quite laughable a wish to help others would seem, without having any mundane and death pursuit. To guard discipline is what bodhisattvas do. For bodhisattvas who wish for virtue's treasures, all doers of harm are like a precious treasure, towards all without having hostile attitudes. To practice patience is what bodhisattvas do. Hearers and self-made Buddhas work just for themselves, yet strive with the fire on their heads that they quell, to rouse diligence, the source of fine attributes. For all beings' sake is what bodhisattvas do. Understanding through insight while resting calmly, our afflictions are brought to their entire defeat. To practice concentration that transcends in truth. The four formless realms is what bodhisattvas do. Our complete enlightenment cannot be achieved through the first five perfections with wisdom lacking. To practice wisdom with the head and no thought to. Three separate spheres is what bodhisattvas do. When our very mistakes we fail to comprehend, through seeming like karma we remain do wrong actions. Without mistakes constantly inquiring into. To abandon them is what bodhisattvas do. If under power of afflictions we discuss other bodhisattvas' faults, we may become corrupt. To speak of the faults of those who've gone into the great vehicle is what bodhisattvas do. Seeking gain and respect will lead to quarreling. Hearing, thinking, and training decline and grow weak. To give up clinging to the households of those who are kin and patrons is what bodhisattvas do. Harsh words make disturbances in others' minds and lead the bodhisattva's conduct to decline. To give up the harsh words which are unpleasant to the minds of others is what bodhisattvas do. When afflictions are habits, they're hard to turn back. So with the sword-like cure of mindfulness and grasp, as soon as afflictions like desire are produced, to strike them right down is what bodhisattvas do. In short, in all activities we undertake, we must ask, how is my mind in its present state? Fulfilling the goal of others to continue. Mindful awareness is what bodhisattvas do. To dispel sufferings of infinite beings. Understanding the three spheres complete purity. To dedicate such earnestly attain virtue. And more enlightenment is what bodhisattvas do. Adhering to the teachings of the sublime ones. Sutras, tantras, and explanations are wrote for those wishing to follow the path through. These 37 things that bodhisattvas do. Since I have a poor mind and my learning is weak, scholars will not be pleased by this poetry. Yet since I do from sutras and sublime teachings, these practices are without mistakes, I believe. Still bodhisattvas' actions are ways of greatness, and it's hard for my poor mind to fathom their depths. For false errors, contradictions, and all the rest. So going once have patience, I humbly request. May all beings find virtue arising from this. Through bodhicitta, relative and ultimate, dwelling not in extremes of existence or peace, become the same as our prospectors can receive.
So opening prayers on page 1 of the prayer book, first in Tibetan and then in English.
Ma nam ga da nyam be sen jian dan ji de wa dan de dong we dan zha nyur de la na me ba yang da ba zo be jian ji ren bo jie do ba zha.
All mother sentient beings, limitless as space, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience, may they experience happiness, be free from suffering, and swiftly may they attain precious, unsurpassed, perfectly complete enlightenment. all Mother sentient beings, limitless as space, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience, may they experience happiness, be free from suffering, and swiftly may they attain precious, unsurpassed, perfectly complete enlightenment.
Oi de je do zai ma je je bar de le nga ye zon ge wa lai gor ma je bar de le nga ye zon ge wa lai gor de re ne zon de nya ma zan da zan je bar de le nga ye zon ge wa lai gor.
For that purpose, until I attain Buddhahood, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. Until death, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. From today until this time tomorrow, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue.
Oi jan jo nian bon je je bar san je nan la jia zun je jia dan jan jo san ba ye co la han de xian jia zun je jia dan wen je de xian je Chan jo ton jie ba da, chan jo san ba la, de da ren xian ne ba da, de xian ro la de, chan jo san jie jie xian. De xian de ne la ba la, ren ba xian de la ba jie wu.
I take refuge in the Buddhas until attaining the essence of awakening. Likewise, I take refuge in the Dharma and in the assembly of the Bodhisattvas. Just as the Buddhas of the past gave rise to bodhicitta and progressed along the Bodhisattva's path, so shall I give rise to bodhicitta for the benefit of all beings and practice the stages of the Bodhisattva's path. I take refuge in the Buddhas until attaining the essence of awakening. Likewise, I take refuge in the Dharma and in the assembly of the Bodhisattvas. Just as the Buddhas of the past gave rise to bodhicitta and progressed along the Bodhisattva's path, so shall I give rise to bodhicitta for the benefit of all beings and practice the stages of the Bodhisattva's path.
San je je dan so jen jo nan la, jan jo bar de dan ja zun je, da ge jen so je be so nan je. Ro la ban sha san jian zhe bar zhu.
Until awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit of generosity and the other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. Until awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit of generosity and the other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings.
Oi mai nam ga dan yan be sen jian dan je de wa dan de ve jo dan de bar jo je. Dong je je dan zha wa jo je. Dong me be de wa dan mian zha wa jo je. Nye ren jia dan nye dan zha we dan yo la ne bar jo je.
May all Mother, sentient beings, limitless as space, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they not be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all Mother, sentient beings, limitless as space, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they not be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion.
Page number 6, mandala. Lin Jian Jie Den Ran Jian Jun San Jur Ran Jian Jian Sui Xian Gen Jur Be Zu Ma Le Lo Ye Lan Den Be Lai Na Den Nian Zhuo Gun Tu Jie Zong De Zur Da liu lun ju do ba jian jie dang bo gan jian jian zha yun de ma jie zong wen wu bo jie zhe gun bo jie dan zhen xie wen xian jie lo ngơ dan ngơ men ta le yon zhe xian jian gan ne sun zhuo da jie jie men zhe len de ne lo men zhen jiu per ve san jie do bar xian jie lo.
An infinite array of worlds, each with 4 continents and the wealth of infinite oceans of realms, I bring them all to mind and offer them without exception. Please hold with compassion all the beings they contain. My body, enjoyments, and whatever I own, my aggregates, elements, and sense sources, my aspirations now and in times to come, as well as everything I grasp as mine. By offering them all, may I be blessed with the end of self-grasping, completely liberated from the bounds of real and unreal, transcending the names and attributes of arising, cessation, and abiding, coming and going, affirmation and denial. The supreme mandala is the natural state. When I offer it, bless me to attain the state of Buddhahood.
Gan so yon zhe de so wan de kor wa don zhe so zhen jie lo jie ye xia nor ge zo ge jie ma san jiu me jia we jian bei ye xian a dan de zhe wei dan ye gai zhen jian zhuo wai juan zhe ren bo jie da zhen ye jian a ne so wan de jian ye jian a ne zhen jie lo san duan ne jian me nan dan de luan de jie ge do bar xian jie lo.
Namo, to the Guru of utterly pure appearance and existence, I offer the appearance and existence arisen from the primordial ground. I supplicate you, may the 3 realms be completely liberated. Please grant blessings to empty samsara from its depths. Lord with 5 omniscient wisdoms, crown ornament, kind one with loving nature, precious protector of beings, heart of all Buddhas, inexpressible by words or thought, I supplicate you from the core of my mind, Bless me from within the state of Dharmata. Bless me to realize this mind, primordially pure and unborn as the unfathomable Dharmakaya.
三界难解三百担，落叶结斋结达瓦，结卷得摩得巴耶，决将过罗过的所。
Please turn the wheel of the Dharma, of the greater, lesser, and common vehicles, according to the dispositions and mental capacities of sentient beings. Hello to all my Dharma friends. And yesterday we stopped on the verse of the 7 supplications to Tara, where it says it is difficult to realize one's own mind. So on page 4. On page 4, it says, "Mindful Mother Goddess, please protect those who have seen the nature of mind, so difficult to realize, but do not habituate it, and so remain lost in negative activities." And so, as it is at first difficult to realize one's mind, and then once it is realized, it must be habituated. So there are many methods or kind of paths of training which lead to that recognition of the true nature of mind. So, for instance, the path of scripture and reasoning in the tradition of Madhyamaka is one method, and then there is the path of the practice of the path of receiving the blessings of the practice lineage, through which one realizes a Mahamudra, and likewise, then there's Dzogchen. And so there are 3 great names, great being because these all end in Chimpo in Tibetan, which means great. So the great middle way, Madhyamaka, the great seal, Mahamudra, and the great perfection, which is Dzogchen. So these 3 greats, or these 3 that are termed with the name great, all express a single meaning, and that is all of the perfected enlightened qualities inherent in the essence of the mind, where actually there are no extremes of elaboration. So the meaning of these 3 greats is one's own mind, the meaning of one's own mind.
다다 다지니 요래 다지니지만 아 추다고 나인도 봤다지 나인도 봤대 나지 가는도 이제 딱게도만 나 때문에도 어때 딱게 당고 그래.
And so the root of all phenomena of samsara and nirvana is one's own mind. And so, as is said, don't cut the root of phenomena, cut the root of mind, cut through to the root of awareness. And that means realizing the non-dual wisdom. So the mind in which there is no longer grasping or fixation to dualistic phenomena. Based on this mind of self-grasping, first there's apprehension of a self and fixation to a sense of I, and then all that comes along with that, the sense of ownership, I and mine, and then an aversion to other or anything which threatens that sense of ownership. And so we have to examine that and cut through it.
Semti nam sanje je unja lover to me to sem ko yele sanje je je ma sam ya ya semti na pa na ji de yo le na lover ke no de chang ta ma de de ke se le ko yo le lover de la sang le ko yo le di lover de de ta tang me ba le ko de se yo de ta ji da de so yo ta mi nga de de nga de so do do de nga de wa chang 돌만데 리드가리서 마마이 잘주 보고 나 셈을 말이 셈 나데 나 메바랑 나이지 봐. 오 근데 나데 매로 메다 메바라 다도 조도 셈 동만이 그런 게 나다시 디들 호가 통만 내가 봐 차도 야요래 내가 디디 하고 나 디디 오치 드 탐지가 안 디에서
And so when we have this concept of a self or an I, because of this self-grasping, but then when we look to investigate, what is this entity of I, and we really look, and sometimes there's the instruction there to try to find or locate this entity we call self. And as much as we look, then we discover that there's nothing there that we can point to or obtain and grab hold of and say, this is I. But then so maybe that brief recognition of lack of selfhood, and then all of a sudden the habit of grasping comes back. And so there's the temporary obscuration arrives again, and there's that solidification of the self. And so the Buddha, the transcendent conqueror, the Buddha taught that all sentient beings are actually Buddhas. It's just that they are covered over by the temporary defilements, the adventitious obscurations. But the ground of the minds of all beings is that of the Buddhas. It is no different from the minds of the Buddhas. It is that single space-like nature of awareness. But when there is the presence of the temporary obscurations, then even in that single instant of the arising of obscuration, there's the solidification, the mistaken solidification of a self, a sense of self. And then there are countless types of grasping that then kind of proliferate from this. And so when we are this self, if we look to see, is it in the body? It isn't. The self is not the body. So then we think that, oh, well, then the self is the mind. But actually, there is, the mind also is not something that can be identified as a truly existent self. So there is only the truth of emptiness, the ultimate nature, which is that single ground or the single awareness of the mind. And when this is understood, then one realizes the truth of selflessness. And when this is not understood, then there's all the delusion of sentient beings. And it is because of this that beings wander since beginningless time and cyclic existence. And the root of all maras is the mind of self-grasping.
마트가 딱 바로 쓰는 랑 제거 말에 뽀지지 대단히 마다 보이니 습기 담지 제이로 다가지요 말에 대하고도 대하고도 오 저거 상지 이비들 이비를 로데 다的마잖아 당아요 박차요 가고 말 대하고 하고도 자적도 짜치 보여봐 대 드리팅 이비를 로데 사바체비 유리 지고 가면 리체 보면 자장나 그리 첩도 첩고 차대요. 잡을래들하면 제이디와나 이절로 첩도도 돼요 말이 말도 봐요. 다음에 딱 제대로. 우리 내가 차대래. 데이디 진핑을 놓더니 발시 쪽람지 그 연구요래. 많이 들어더니 뭐 쪽람지 그 연구 때 거대이데 들라를 소비는 동리가 저 단진이 지비 사제의 저 지비를 속 타질 대하고 지비로 자치 봐봐 가리 패기도 지비를 놓치지 마음은 적시 대하고 그랬지.
So the way to counteract this mind of self-grasping is through cultivating the altruistic mind, the mind that wishes to benefit others. So we ordinarily fall into that narrow mind kind of solidification, the mind of self-grasping, and we're not thinking of others, we're only thinking of ourselves. And so when the focus has turned instead towards others and the wish to benefit others, it is like the love that develops is like that of that a mother has towards her child. So a mother is always thinking about the well-being and benefit of her child. She's never thinking about herself. She's always concerned about her child. And so when we really have love for sentient beings, it is like this, that love that is really concerned only with the welfare and benefit of others. It's directed towards all sentient beings. And so, as it says, the perfect Buddhas arise from the altruistic mind. And when there is that altruistic mind, the mind that wishes to benefit others, then naturally the six perfections arise from this, or one's activities become the nature of the six perfections. But it takes also creating a habit, a strong karmic imprints for this, and also regarding, really understanding the preciousness of bodhicitta. And as it develops, and eventually it really becomes the undefiled bodhicitta, and the mind becomes very vast. And when the mind becomes very vast, then there is no self there. And so one realizes the truth of selflessness. And all of this comes from developing the mind that wishes to benefit others and love and compassion for beings. The root of all suffering is self-grasping, and the source of all happiness and well-being without exception stems from this beneficial intention, this altruistic intent or mind that wishes to benefit others.
That is a wahako soliti, some jig用第一讲里，就是做在咱们咱们的香港每个当出个哩，当地的人个sản xuất才会没办法当到出个嘛哩，这就是做下哩，sản xuất才是到起来哩，这是我哩的sản xuất才到起来嘛，哦，sản xuất才这人大的没办法到个到。这草啊，的下高上，大下高上的，sản xuất用用地的下高上的，这上地的大光头，他如果去大国家我嘞的，统计讲不么子吧的，哦，他如果去大国家的，上这讲嘞讲了，做马达不的事，在两个的嘞，买的嘛嘞，阿妈这个嘞，阿妈这个俺这头跑了这话这头有嘞，不这个他阿妈在爬去爬去了。所以呢，马达本人这话的，长期10几年这话的，马达本人这话都是阿哥说，他上这里上他，通过上这有了人家也说话谈起，这种操什么就都有的，上这没人也上这个就啥都有的，对，啥你把这了，当地人这位个他妈个来啥个嘞，我他啥你把上这就找来个把这去，啥你别用这边他们家个说。
Langkor tse tan toto jik dara. Langkor tse tan toto te ama kin nama tsungre yuso. Tin ama ke tse wa yuzan aden ama ke pala tse wa yorwa. Tin poke ama la kugyap pa shogre yuso. Langkor tse tan toto jik dara. The prayer well, the top of their toto jik dara. That represent the mother's breast.
Yeah.
So, because it occurred from mother's loving kindness towards one's child, then now child need to respect one's own mother.
So, when we understand well the qualities of love and compassion, then we are really dedicated to generating these qualities and the mind of bodhicitta. The bodhicitta is so powerful. It's so powerful that the moment that it arises in the mind, in that same instant, in that single moment, then one can realize the truth of non-self, the truth of selflessness. So then if you experience it directly yourself, then if you're asked, do you understand the qualities of bodhicitta, of loving kindness, then there's a definitive understanding because you've tasted the experience yourself directly. And knowing the qualities, especially when you're challenged, then you really take take ownership of the developing patience. So you practice patience because you know that the qualities of love and compassion are so precious. So like the love that a mother has for her child, it's like this prayer wheel that Rinpoche spins. The tip of the prayer wheel is like the nipple or the breast of the mother. And it is, that feeding of her child is from the mind of great love. And so it's kind of like as the prayer wheel spins, all the sentient beings are benefited by that kind of unceasing flow of the mother's love. And so with so much love for her children, then the children also like have so much love or respect for the mother. So when there is love, the fruition of that is well-being and happiness. It is, birth in the higher realms or higher states. When we lack love, then our activities are based on the mind of affliction, the mind of delusion and the mind of affliction. And so we engage in negative actions, which then bring us down to the lower realms. So as it says in the prayer, so by not habituating this nature of mind, which is pervaded by this great love, then beings remain lost in negative activities. And so that is the activity of affliction that then pulls us into the lower realms and negative states of being, the fruition of negativity being suffering. So it says, mindful Mother Goddess, please protect us, or please protect them.
Oh, 주시대 dreamer 하모지 주시대 가리 습기 피고 주시대 sabte 이냠데 요나 들이 조바이 뭐 요나 들이 값 들이 셈데 가리 다블은 피고 선 sabte데 요뭐 값니 다 저거 셈나가 때디노 셈데 하자 자치 못 차데 요래 그걸 잡아서 맞아서 또 잡아주고 나서 사비 참데 요거 가르치 장 셈들 지보요래 다블 그 동네도 동네 이제도 그 소른 거래 나가도 한 파지라고 요래 값들이 다 셈람 종님이 이시라 다들이 여기 셈도 거리도 때는 셈들이 제보 차송데 마음 셈도 다블 그 차송 참도들 대하고 대서 참도 뒤에 동네 동네 인기 되게 또 다시 저러고 이게 미만하고 그래. 취미만하고 취시받아 이게 미만하고 그래. 그래서 드립값들이 셈람 종이 랑그 셈들이 통한 거래. 랑그 셈들 답을 잡채버려. 대응 셈 코랑 때 값들이 딱 째다고 랑그 셈다 이게 셈이 제발 나가버려. 나가를 이거 딱 째다고. 셈이 이제 말이지. 또 속참 맞게 셈나 콜 요래 콜 셈이 유모 봐 요래 나디 요래. 나가 셈 상태 요래. 나 삼만에 앞에 잡을 거 잡을 셈 주고 차. 코들이 나자정 삼도 차기 차와디. 좀 얘기해서 아무라도 딱고도 doktor도 나디 같이 제들이 차를 요래. 대는 하고를. 셈을 제발해야 돼. 셈 제발로 호토를 동네 요래 때려했어. 나 삼대 요가 셈지고 차도 대도 소바도 용을 깍들이 셈이 야치 못 차되는 통을 해야 돼.
So as it says, mindful Mother Goddess, mindfulness, it is mindfulness that is required for constantly returning to this mind of love and kindness. It is mindfulness that is required for practicing patience. So we are mindfully attending to nurturing that aspiration. Oh, may I benefit all beings. May I be of benefit to all the world. And the more that this mind is habituated and the stronger that mindful awareness becomes, then the mind becomes very vast and expansive. It can actually pervade everywhere, the entirety of the universe. And then one feels very content and at ease, but one is also able to perceive all the suffering of beings. And so this is, but one knows that the essence is the same. The essence of one's own mind and the essence of the minds of all the Buddhas and all sentient beings is a single ground. Then in the next verse it says, the self-arisen non-dual primordial wisdom. So this is when then one knows or understands that non-dual mind, that self-arisen primordial, non-dual primordial wisdom. And the mind is very, very vast. And then perceiving the suffering of beings who do not understand this, then there's naturally great compassion that arises. And that compassion manifests like the rays of the sun. It manifests in the form of Dharma. So Dharma is like the sun that pervades throughout the sky, benefiting all sentient beings. And so the true nature of our own mind is this great expanse, this great emptiness. And our own minds and the minds of others are not different. They are the same in essence. There's a single ground. So all sentient beings possess this nature, no matter who they are or in what situation they abide in, even the tiniest of insects. But the difference is in like the clouds that pass through the sky, and that for some beings not recognizing that sky-like nature, there's a strong self-grasping. And so because of that strong self-grasping, there are all sorts of afflictions, the accumulation of karma, and then like different karmic states that are experienced by different beings. But so then when we witness that and we know, for instance, the love in our own mind, and we say, oh, and that we recognize that there's the presence of great love there, when the mind of self-grasping and beings who are really afflicted by suffering, then there is, based on karma, cause and effect, there's the results, that ripen, and sometimes the self-grasping becomes more and more coarse. And so we really see the way that this suffering occurs or arises. But mainly, as we continue to deepen our love and kindness, and then and recognize with mindfulness the nature of awareness, then the mind becomes very vast. It is very vast and all-pervasive.
God said the Jatibo Charlie, there's something you are the Tony Nijasum Yoganji, something over Capiti Chalmogore. God said, that's it, Sota. Certina, sent around, only that took a Zumari Taketama. Sitting a Zumama sent around only. Said I'm car out only, now sent around only. Said I'm car down, send me, double the Taketama. Did you call it? Said I'm car. Langsemi, Japanese or Hako. Oh, save the ta, now cut the checky of the Pasha of the same color, same color round zone is. Same round zone, that even same round zone the Hako, then you see that way. Same round zone is Daji Immer, same Daji Immer, they Hako. Oh, that dealer. 이시가 에베다가들 남카데 예레 요베 남카 토만이 요레지 망발이 요레지 다다 요레지 셈 남카당 이 내나 가리에는 남또 찾아 장이 타면 초토기 요레 셈 또가 장이 타면 초토기 요레 내 초토 가리 코디니로 타면 레지비 타기 좀 하고 요레 남도 이시라 There is the same don't immediately. Daho Daji is on Kakaresa. There is the Chada Resa. There is Charum songs. Or Teta Daji, how deal that how cotton. Lord Doctor, same Sabachipari, Jetty Chipari, Lord, Daji 이제 요백을 띠래다 사제 습지지 차송을 띠고
So this love and loving kindness is the quality that pervades the empty essence of awareness. So mind's nature is the indivisibility of emptiness and great compassion. And when this is present, when the mind is very vast and expansive like this, and we look directly at the mind, then we see that mind itself mind is self-arisen. So it is a self-arisen, and the outer space of the Dharma Dhatu is likewise self-arisen. So the outer space that is self-arisen, and the inner mind of awareness is likewise self-arisen, and these are one and the same in essence. And so we should understand this sameness, and the mind is never born; it is unborn and unceasing. So this, when we understand this self-arisen, unborn, primordial awareness of non-duality, then that is the meaning of Yishi. So Yishi being that, there is that primordial awareness of non-duality, where there is no longer the duality of self and other. So why is it Yeshe, Ye being the primordial or original? Because it is always abided primordially from time without beginning, like space. And it is all knowing. So as long as one identifies with that basic space of awareness, then everything can be perfectly and clearly seen. Like whatever arises in the mind, even the subtlest of thoughts or concepts, are clearly seen. All of the appearances or phenomena of samsara and nirvana are understood or seen at a detailed and subtle level. So when there's not that identification with the sky-like essence, then their mind hardens into like a sense of self, and there's the split into duality of self and then others in juxtaposition to the self, and we become hardened like a block of ice. And we continue to experience, or this is how beings experience the phenomena of the six realms. But the basis of their minds is the same. It's a single essence. And this is really the difference between Buddhas and sentient beings. It's merely understanding the essence and not understanding the essence.
이서도 박차가 제대로 세작 좀 말하지. 다만 코르사와리는 다 이디 톡거리. 다 차당다지 차당 톡거리. 다음에 주력적 되면 사봉아 또 지름아 피고 삶이 되게 뭐라 그런 사지에 누구가 로라 피서 사지에 좀 말소서 사지에 만원 되죠. 마 사지에 좀 가야 돼. 왜 습지를 피는 거거든 어디. 다뭐 습지를 피는 거거든. 습지 작업도 저거든. 그래서 습지 탐지를 피부체도 마 사지에 좀 거든. 대서들이 습지 지비를 놓대 대상지에 말도 봐도 매번 체들이 돼요. 그 딱바로 습지 탐지 상만 완전히 가지려다 네 염증을 하면 염증을 깎들이 이디 또 와셔는 이 집들이 좀 제시고 람시 도지 집들이 도지 제시래 그 뭐라 들으라고 다 집들이 좀 말하게 당도 이제 대받지를 라게 담지고는 좀 맞지를 저거 라게 담가리나 제시들려나 이디 매바도 그래 이디 이제 성나 이 생活들 자로 차다고 요거래 염증을 하면 저도 그 라리 소리면은 네 동생도 소독 같아. 오, 주 탐지가 이거 제시에 봐요 봐서 there took the media of the source.
So then, as it says in the text, Goddess of non-dual mind, please protect those who are bound, no matter what they do, by habitual dualistic grasping at concepts in the mind, that is this self-arisen, non-dual primordial wisdom. So because of this habit of grasping, the habitual dualistic grasping at concepts in the mind, this habit is one that is very thick, very there are deep imprints of dualistic fixation. And so first, when one practices religion or one practices a spiritual practice, there is the intention to benefit oneself. And so there's the thought, that I want to purify my obscurations and reach the state of awakening. And then it develops into the wish to benefit others. That is the motivation. So with the motivation that I wish may I benefit all sentient beings. And with that intention, then I wish to reach the state of awakening, to be a benefit to all beings. And so this mind of wishing to benefit others serves as like the warmth that melts the ice block, the hardened ice of self-grasping, and so that and so as it then we say. Goddess of non-dual mind, please protect those, or so the supplication to the goddess of non-dual mind, Tara, and the meaning of Tara is really mindfulness, and the essence of all of the Yidam deities is the same. So whenever there is reliance upon any Yidam deity or supplication to any Yidam deity, then mindful awareness arises. And as long as mindful awareness is present, then we can't fall into dualistic grasping. So it is the mindful awareness that really protects one from falling into this habitual tendency of dualistic grasping. And so, as it also And so also in the 37 Bodhisattva practices, as it says, when in brief, whatever conduct one engages in, one should ask, what is the state of my mind? Accomplishing others' purpose through constantly maintaining mindfulness and awareness is the Bodhisattva's practice. And so this is really the meaning or the essence of Tara, is this mindful awareness.
남치 실 매버 거는 들이 영집을 하면 되지 남치 차로 맞을때 남치 나진이 되어 거는 남치리 대 차로도 더 매바시 들이 저도 지시를 들이 나도 가르 차로 갑들이 영집을 하면 저거 지시들이나 들이 다리 나도 저와 실로 매바도 거리 차로 좋아하는 우리 차로 좋아하는 저요리 배나 며칠 시당 나오는 까지 지시게 이제 시당이 처음 가면 딱 지시되게 이제는 시당대 매화게 대 차원이 시당 처음에 무슨 통로 시제 시당 와야 매화 대 차원이 다 남시 실 민수로 처와대 마미나 마디 다른 세상은 산이 양때 맨코로 세상은 이리 양양도 유모가 찌어버려 이 지시가 따들이 따라가 메이도 마미디 라고 곰이 요티 찌어마지 라고 따와를 속레만을 떼다고 따로 체지 데리들이 지시디 나오생을 내려도 그리때 유모가 따도 이걸 관자로들이 또 처음에 받들은 데라 말하리고요 송강리들 고바 냠명들과 같이 냠명가리리 남도 차례 지시가 하고를 들이지 세열을 남도를 받아당 지시한 거 내라 이때 이제들이 자루셔와더니 자루를 오티 냠명들이 남도 직대의 셔서로 들이 지시가 가지는 남도 셔트다 들이 남시 실명이 유몽 이실이 저도 유몽 아들이 이실은 저도 그래 뒤 냠명들이 고만 냠명들이 와서 그래
So there's this distinction between primordial wisdom or primordial awareness and consciousness. So primordial or consciousness is when there is the presence of dualistic grasping, and primordial wisdom is where there is non-duality, the wisdom of non-duality. But this has to be, there has to be a definitive settling or a decisive recognition of the view. If there isn't a decisive recognition of the view, then it becomes difficult to really overcome the very deeply entrenched, kind of hardened patterns of dualistic grasping. Because it's like melting, in order to melt really solid blocks of ice, you have to have extremely hot water. If the water isn't hot enough, then there's no way to really melt the blocks of ice. But when there's a really definitive recognition of the true nature of awareness, then by remaining within that recognition, then this purifies the mind of self-grasping. It purifies consciousness in such a way that the consciousness is transformed into or instead becomes the nature of wisdom. And this is dependent upon mindful awareness, sustaining mindful awareness. When there is mindful awareness, then whatever it is that arises in the mind is seen, it's recognized. So dwelling within the recognition of the true nature, then whatever thoughts that arise, they are recognized. And so as they're recognized, then they can be liberated upon arising. And this is what also serves then to cause the ice block of fixation to melt. And so anytime then, because of our direct experience, then we are able to more readily rely on mindfulness. So if, for instance, anger arises, and then we immediately remember the view, then in that arising of mindful awareness, then the anger just dissolves within the recognition of the natural state of awareness. And so we know, again and again, if we rely on mindful awareness in this way, then we can transform all of the afflictions. On the other hand, if we forget, if we don't train in cultivating mindful awareness, then if we encourage, or again and again give rise to negative mind states such as anger, then these become more deeply ingrained or more deeply habituated. So the habituation has to be stronger on the side of the view, and not habituation, and the habituation to negative emotions has to be diminished. And this all occurs through the power of mindfulness. So as And mindfulness is strengthened through meditation. As Milarepa says, direct experience in meditation is very important, meaning that we have to have a taste of this directly in our meditation. And through experience, then there is naturally that awareness or mindful awareness of whatever arises, the thoughts. We see the thoughts that arise in the mind. And so based on that experience, then it is through this like direct taste of experience that we really have the feeling of what happens when awareness is so powerful that it causes the afflictions in the mind to naturally dissolve, like the melting of the ice block. And then with this, consciousness is transformed into wisdom. Afflictive emotions are transformed into the 5 wisdoms.
다다디 영 dream을 하면 자꾸 소소하게 하장 동다 정말 체드스 이간다 체들이 따고 그래. 다다 수임을 값에서 나타난 동에데 레 투고사 제리 샤과 마지라 저좀 하고요 그래지. 대도 다타 보면 샤기름 로드는 잡아 잡아데 엄마 샤과 레레 샤과 마제베 레 탑지 상하고요 그래. 샤과 제베 레를 듣고 샤과 제를 살레 됐지. 샤티는 좀 민기라서 피토고요. 뒤쳐봐야지. 바도리 다다 연주를 한번 다다서 명만 방도 쇼치 못 제고 가니 저들도 막 라저 지나 지탐나 바도지 샘주고를 안 속인 배들이 레박차 싸봐요래. 그들이 라저 등에 세트고요래. 바디 등에디 셀터를 셀사보래. 마세도 하자 등에 다다리 치와래 배나. 네. 바디동이 다다리 속 치워지고 치워요래. 왜냐 야로 동에 담지 소모들이 조라메베 동에지 조르트 기직자들이 생기라서 연배들이 박차라서 연배 로트고들이 다다 지시들이 속야지지 랑산이 바도리 동에 세터만부터 다다 흘러가 예담 지텀부터 데라래 예담 지인이 들 다다 뉴모는 참주더라 들 바도리 뒤동에 셔트고요래 때문에 하다 진짜 이거 같이 보여야지.
So this, so also as we continue in the prayer to supplicate Tara, seeking her protection. So this is really important. This reliance and faith in the deity. Because we have accumulated so much karma, because the imprints are very thick, and we also have to engage in confession. If there is not confession and purification, then the karma there will ripen according to the cause. So it's difficult if there isn't this practice of confession to actually purify our karma. And when we have a strong habit of always remembering Tara or of relying on Tara, supplicating Tara, and if, for instance, in that act of remembering Tara, supplicating Tara is also like a practice of confession. So, for instance, when we give rise to a strong afflictive emotion, and then we immediately supplicate Tara, if that mindful awareness to supplicate Tara in the midst of affliction becomes deeply habituated, and we're able to liberate afflictions as a result of bringing Tara to mind and supplicating Tara in that moment, then based on the strength of that, actually that can lead to likewise being able to remember Tara in the bardo. And when we die and then we experience the bardo, and there are all sorts of different sufferings that can arise. So if during our lifetime developing the practice of always remembering and supplicating the deity, then this creates an imprint that can really benefit us and arise, ripen at the time of the bardo and protect us from the suffering of the bardo and rebirth in lower realms. That's all. And so, if we now really develop the three types of faith, clear faith, longing faith, and confident faith, during our life, then again this will be of great assistance to us in the bardo. So because of Tara's extraordinary qualities, when we have faith, we can definitely experience her blessing. She has the power to be of protection and assistance to us, and especially even more so in the bardo. So it's really important to develop or to cultivate the clear faith and confident faith. And so whenever we should really get in the habit of supplicating the deity anytime we experience hardship or difficulty. So the moment that something arises, if it is our reaction to supplicate Tara, and in the midst of that suffering or whatever the danger, the fear, or whatever it is that has arisen, in that very moment, if we can remember, if we think of Tara, and that's the first thing that we think of, then she can really protect us even from like our own imprints of karma, our own karmic imprints and obscurations. And so it's also good to get in the habit of first thing when you wake up, or first thing when you wake up in the morning, you think of Tara. Because Tara, or the deity, is the manifestation of bodhicitta.
냐 탑차 망고 세기어디 문이 랑가 칼랑이 요리 사지 냐 됐다 사마랑이 집베게 제바 미나 칼랑이 영두고 요말이 차질 차와 집베게 뒤도 집베게 추면서 와서 뒤도 영고요 뒤도리 뒤탑질 sabtegun kap tini sha sana tater sepi so ti sa chita ko ti to le deva ye ti ta sam ta ti jumre te ha ko ju te ma monom ti ti le di chu do ko de ko pa sam ti do te bri yang ja sa do ta ta ma char si ta pa sa ang yang ja pa sa ho wa de te ko do le mo monom ja chi le do 대답을 시bil 삼대게 옆집에는 삼대게 대답을 샤지장한테 문이 내게 대답제들이 다음은 좀 코라고 유인체 레고 콜로 유체 뭐놈 대답이잖아. 이제 레상이 요상 이 소소라 아니래 동네용나 남이 제나지 동네 되게 박사 딱히 오래지 민감자 오래지 대시설한테 이 성습대 배 독자에서 그러니 성습대 독자 말이지 문제를 줄래 저사 찾나 야 따지니 성숙들이 다 들어도 줄이베라 들어도 별로 다 들어도 말아달라서가 시작을 내사 때리 저 샤파 출마지는 이 것도 유는 못 제가 막 벗사 벗게 벗사 이때서 때문에 마을 바로 삼제 요리지 득바라들 광고 막 벗사 벗게 마사로 배대다가 속 차방 보지가 아마 사로 그래 대답을 내서 시당은 나서구나 이게 짜는 왜 봐. 대답이 양달 내서 그래. 하고 봐.
하고 마송 그거지.
특별하다. 광고 보고 사로 그래. 그래서 양 동료들이 양 보고 참아게 아마 참아 사로 그래. 밑에다 사로 그래. 대답을 내 대답을 싹 요리. 그 준비되기 때문에 참아 준비할 때는 더 요리지. Jibril mati chekya yo mari sa ta choa diwa chokje yo de samte le sa de shigoma ni yo le diwa chokje mata to no no do ka ne diwa chokje de yo de samte le ri samte le de me jemba zuba chokhan de la suba piu le diwa chokje yo na samte yo de ri ta so so ra ni no yi ka re yo na ya da di ge thor pha jo me 이게 되는가 동동은 그 메텔 고소라야 이거만 파동 들어서 나고 요리 철학에 자치 돌아서 못하는 들이라기 누가 다좀 벌어 소소 삼들이 삼못하는 이 동이 다니 제바다 대량이 벌어는 수도 요리 배나 그래서 네 조법 때문에 총바지 요리 총바지게 배서 뭔만 보지는 파이야 들이 쇼송 들이 다다 다 코다게 감지자 말 감지 말자 다 지아 정말하고 철랑이 다른 파 손도 거리서 이 불론 수도 거리 뒤로 삼로다네 레지 상 탑삼로단 거리 맞아서 저배 안가 뭐지그는 취재가 요 나가긴 제가도 드리sam죠 말이 대하고 소에
치치나 김보 텐진 디기나 치치나 야그레상도 치 토기야베로와 인지케가 송로나
Actually, this omniscient Mother God is please protect those who have dwelt in the authentic truth but do not understand the interdependence of cause and effect, and thus are blind to the meaning of what is to be known. So actually, practitioners think, I'm Buddhist, I'm cultivate merit, virtues, and I'm practice. Actually, yeah, that's right. But in the one has some karmic imprint which cultivated in previous lives. So that's where then sometimes those karmic fruitions occur. At that time, one thinks, these dharma practices do not help me. It does not benefit because I'm practicing dharma still I have lots of suffering. So, but that is misunderstood. So, of course, when you are practicing Dharma, at the same time you experience some suffering. At that time, it purifies your negative karmas. So that's where you need to apply forbearance to accept those suffering. Those suffering are the karmic fruitions. So actually, the cyclic existing of karma cause and effect is, for instance, if you are you were going to a restaurant. In this restaurant, there are many fish, but among them, there's a fish which you eat. So that fish and you have a karmic connection. So that's why if there are many fish, if you don't have karmic connection, those fish, then you are in this restaurant, but you will not eat those fish. So this is how this is the karma cause and effect. So if you understand that, and then if you dedicate your merit after you eat meat or fish, then it purifies your negative karma and it benefits those fish. But if you do not dedicate virtues, then you again accumulate or cultivate karmic imprint, and then you cyclically exist in the samsara. So during the Dharma practice, sometimes there are many sufferings, and also those three lower realms are also not so bad. They are like a hospital that operates those people who have some cancers or something like that. So the worst realm is animal realm. For instance, snake and scorpions. So then they actually scorpions, their babies eat them, and so then those animals need to stay longer in their realms. So this is the karma cause and effect. But then when one has loving kindness and compassion, then one purifies those negative karmas. At that moment, when one has loving kindness and compassion, then at the same time one possess the generosity, moral discipline, and forbearance. So whenever you have suffering, you put these sufferings are on the self-grasping. For instance, one person beats you.
Somebody beats you.
Yeah, and then at that time, you should think that, I repay my karmic debt. So before in Taiwan, there is a businessman. He lost 100,000 money, and then he says he is going to lawsuit. But then Rinpoche said, don't do that. Then you should think that you are
repaying your karmic debts.
Yeah, repaying your karmic debts. So then at that time, then one could purify these karmic debts.
Okay. Rangi Tamche, the Jing was Tamang, Yore, Top Tea, the one to talk to the Tamche Sanji, 17 numbers Sanji, and went all over to me. Teach about lower about this hour to the day later. I did the charge of Songori. They just I took some song that was done. So, you did it over, so I took some of the song. So I took the one that took the Tamche Sanji Copanto, Sanji Copanto, send now cut out the table. The Malaria, real sense of the by so Gondor, Sanji was around Sam Tongori. The Thomas Balatrita, Lord Mambo Songayatini, Tatatili, Jabuko, Lamajabu, Semradonimi, Ragasen, Rasi Saji, they got it home at Rita, Tama Thompson, they don't touch over it. They told it, they told Gami, they like Tatomega drove it, Tatomega, to do Nanguchi, Sudden Pata, and the same Yemi Bagachaka. Chovalty Ramsena. Got the year to your money. Oh, something that was a pair of Matra mess. Take a touch or the Tavi touch of Asto. There same number cut shape be a chocolate to buy so the reading of the Tabjeti. Simply Tamche, they say you must simply Tamche Sangi. They talk was about the Sarchok of Matra. Some order something of Mandala Chegores, something of Mandala, just give out of Mandala and never give out of your day. Something of Mandala, Dandi may want over the Dandi many years Sanjeris. Chalon the jelly, cherry, the Japti Shasuma, they took what to keep it a jump solar, they took what you said, Japtota, Tata Semo, Sajit of the other day, so Lam to you, meaning said the Jamto Tower is, Jamto Chibo Tower is. They don't show the Chigori. They see what the Ortibar, that about Sajok Mongori, Semi Jagan, some bad semi of the Jackie Chibo, Ramayam Young Tower. They too long ago, legend Lake, Rangi, a petition, legend Lake, that Rangi, so long as Tosa, she was simply a paper that they were Dogori. Penna. Amidina, Manina, Tandela to Lodi, Gori. So the Sakari, they call Samming at Tariori. Gally gate of Tari, they are not taken a peg marriage. The Lord they already, Jay coming, which also Sajikudan, Genuism, Larger Kalitri, Tawasum, Lamaya, and Carlosum, never come to cross of the Sajik Goptokati, their Sangiori. Ye got control some, Sanji should have control some. Sanji home, Shuyima, get you Dava, Tangled. Lamu got the Tawa some, Lama home, Yadam Nima, get you Kato Dava, Tangled. They look at the Tawa some, Choco Longo Choco Sunday. Sometimes chosen to get the Tagari. They tower, they like it, simply ping on Swim Sagurti. This is intermediate that quantity Tamet in a ping tower. They tower, like a solo subway jetted in La took the Comedian Mentonti, the Cabato to the one away. That is Tammy, Costo Swim Sabo Tap, they want to check or the Shin Tabji. They are not any top top the. Septi Tamji Sangi, Lord Don Chalon, the Shani Jamtor Tamia, Magurti, Tamji, the Yimita, Homocana, Septi Tamji, Sanji Comac, Tovel or Esivia.
So then, with the next verse of having the unelaborated space like nature, from which everything is indivisible, complete Buddha Mother, please continue to protect those disciples who are ordinary. So this unelaborated space-like nature from which everything is indivisible, which is the true meaning of Tara, or the essence of Tara, the meaning of the ultimate truth, which is the Buddha nature, or the Tathagata Garbha that is possessed by all sentient beings. So all sentient beings have this nature, and therefore they are actually Buddhas. They're Buddhas, but they have the temporary obscurations. And so although there is this, the essence of the mind itself is this sky-like awareness, this true nature of the ultimate truth, and then the conduct is that of observing, in great detail, karma, cause, and effect, and engaging in activities accordingly. But the mind has to be understood to be actually the nature of Buddhahood. So as Milarepa said, if you wish to know the Buddha, you must look at your own mind. And so whenever we look at our own mind, if we see that essence, we have to definitively decide on it. We have to recognize it with certainty, without doubt. And that mind that is the true essence of the mind, the non-dual, elaborated space-like nature, which is indivisible from everything because it pervades all phenomena. That all is of that single essence. And so when there's a decisive recognition, when we've definitively settled, then we know, and we don't have to ask any questions. There's not a feeling of needing to clarify, because there is certainty in the direct experience or recognition. And so in that certainty, there's also a certainty with respect to the nature of one's own mind, and that the ground or the foundation of the minds of all beings is of the same essence. And so remaining within the recognition of that essence, and at all times sustaining, never separating from the qualities of love and kindness. And then when we're always remembering or mindful of loving kindness, then all activities become causes of virtue. And those causes of virtue then ripen in the form of favorable experience or happiness and well-being. And the love that one holds in one's mind should be that there's always an intention to benefit beings, to provide the conditions of, like an ocean that melts the ice blocks of self-grasping. The mind of the great vehicle is like an ocean. And when we really experience the quality of this directly, we really have the feeling of it arises, and we know, oh, really, it is really true that this mind is like the ocean. And so when meditate again and again on the four immeasurables, and to be really attentive to the truth of karma, cause, and effect in our path of activity or in our path of conduct is really important. And then everything becomes an accumulation of merit. And everything that we do then is motivated by the wish to benefit others. So Rinpoche said for instance, in the clothes, we always have to wear clothes, right? So in the clothes that he wears, his intention is to benefit everyone who sees his clothing with the hongta and the liberation upon sight mantra. So then whatever beings that see him receive a benefit through seeing his clothing. So the Hong, for instance, represents the Lama, and the sun represents the yidam. And there are, from the perspective of the ground, then it represents the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. From the perspective of the path, it represents the three roots of the Lama, Yidam, and Dakini. And from the perspective of the fruition, it represents the three kayas, the Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Nirmanakaya. And so it is like this with everything that he wears, the bracelets and spinning the prayer wheel. That is all with the thought, may sentient beings be benefited. And so then through these simple acts of wearing, the clothing that he's wearing and this intention, then there is an ongoing accumulation of merit. And so the idea is that by beings coming into contact with this, then there is a seed, that is placed in their mind stream, and this begins to melt their ice block of self-grasping. And through the power of that connection and that seed that is placed in their minds, that eventually, they will ripen in the form of Buddhahood, that all beings who make contact with him will reach this state of awakening.
Same Kong get the needle, same the jiggery sound, same time I jiggery sound hardcore, so we get it by the soccer hardcore, they have been like what Lama Dang hard.
So Rinpoche would like to ask all of you, his Dharma friends, when it comes to the verse or the line that came before, the mind that is self-arisen, non-dual wisdom. So this self-arisen mind, is this mind like one mind or many minds? And so if you think that it is one mind, raise your hand.
They are the easy one. The same jiggery, they same the guard of them. They told on the Sunday cottage to watch out there. Yearly over years or Tamsi Shibeshi. That's what did the day you can't check on my. Not talk on a shower. They did on dinner. There is a malaria baby. Give to Chupa shock and child. Dictor Amini as a tata. Ram even the guys to argue.
So understanding that, then primordial awareness. So that is wisdom. That is not consciousness. As rather than consciousness, you are identifying wisdom. It is one mind, and this mind, this essence is. Has existed from the beginning, or it is primordially present like space. And so if we always acknowledge that single, if we recognize or identify that single nature, that single mind, that sky-like essence, and that is what we remain within, then whatever it is that arises, whatever concepts, whatever thoughts, whatever emotions, they can't do any harm to that essence itself. And so in recognizing them, then they can be liberated upon recognition. So the key is to remain within the recognition of just that. As Milarepa said, Milarepa Garisunga Yananga Boko Mason.
Milarepa says that 10 virtues radiate the power of the conduct, and the 10 non-virtues purifies into the true nature.
Malay song, yes, we but David, yes, we but so got that our hardcore songs. 이거 매바 고마 동송 딱바로 뒤질 대고치 소도 좀 저부터 딱바로 뒤질 니디가 막 와체 조람 가능성은 생각도 라과 나도 라주고 왕는 마셔라더니 다 제시가 대들 주바대에서 니서베바 다도 영화메바 고마도 송도적과 주부터 무슨 예민 제부 송도 제부대를 제부 상제의 고망 섭지 당체 라고 상제 라고 세고 내로 하고 아마도 상제 쓰리 용어 말이 상제 쪽대에 섭지는 상제에서 라고 내로 라고 또 송아송.
So, as Milarepa says, likewise, the non-duality is the meaning of the view, non-distraction is the meaning of meditation, and the indivisibility of these two is the conduct. So, as non-duality is the view, then the view has to be recognized, and then once it's recognized, then we have to remain within that recognition. So that is what is meant by non-distraction is the meaning of meditation. And these two are sustaining this at all times. The non-dual awareness then becomes the conduct of indivisibility in all of our actions. So the key is really to not fall under the power of coarse conceptual thoughts, to not be swept away by them, to recognize them as they arise, but to not be to not fall under their power. And so we have to recognize the true nature of the mind and then sustain that recognition through habituation, through practice, through meditation. And in doing so, then one understands this meaning of what is meant by the single ground, and that all sentient beings are actually Buddhas, that we all share that same basic nature.
당중은이 다 시합도 바로도 말이에요. 내록 도고 바로 나지. 시합도 오늘 매 말이야 송말이. 그럼 진롱지랑 자가 대송 말이 말이 배송 말이. 랑생 내록 하고서는 다주 확장 탑생송시. 그 상지 대리지.
And then, remaining within this view, then we come to experience the true purity of all phenomena. And so all appearances are understood to be the pure appearances of the deity, and all sounds are experienced as the pure sound of mantra. And so all by meditating on the view, then all the entirety of the limitless manifestations throughout the three realms are seen in their pure essence to be a pure manifestation or display, having that empty nature, being empty in essence. And so, as Milarepa says, if you realize the nature of emptiness, there is the perfection of wisdom, the paramita of wisdom, is nothing other than that. So not that one. I think he means the other prayer of Kuntuzangpo. Rewa? For both, we'll do it once in Tibetan and once in English.
Kuntuzangpo prayer is in the blue book.
Oh, I thought he meant Kuntuzangpo Monam, the Shimba, the Sangchu, Mareve. The Nangayurve. Oh, okay, so he says that it is in here. Page 40. Oh, page 40, okay. Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, so first in Tibetan.
Konde ni ge me me do de ni re no san je de ma re sem jin ko wa jan kan sun sen jin dam je yo me je do re ba jo gun de zam bo nga ye ja ge je me ba ye ya do de ni ja le ran so sa na ro ge jo ma dai de me men be de ma Desera jo mai ga re so la ne ba se son je jang an da me do yo nga la chao ba to me she ba ran so la de be so da dong a me re ba sar ja mang ga ba ngo che la ye she nga bo men ba le to me san je re nga Tele ye shen ta je be san je 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 za ne jo ye shen a ye za sha we chang tong zhe je dang ba sa de se re ye ren zhe ma nyo to me san je a ye mo la da ba ye gan song go we sem jin ran song re ba ngo ye ne ye xie jian bo da je jo ma ye zhe ba jun me an jie jie wa zhao jia sang yin jie gan la gan de re na zui dui ma ye dui jie mo lan jie gan song gu we sim jian gu re zhuo ne ne dun ba xiu dang bo sim jin zhi ba nan xie la re ba ma xie wei jie an zhi mi to me wai de ga ma ren zhi wei de la he jie jiao wa le ngan zha xie ba sa sen jie de le da xian zhang zhen jie ba xia ren ji de ba le ko wa lu sun zhong ba sun de le niu mo hong a ji dong le la jun jie me de shi sim jin zhi bei de me ma re yin be se san jie nga ye mo lan ji跟着人把人学学林姐姐个马人吧，西巴这面引把眼滚得到个马人吧，大些年生在把眼林姐滚到马人，心间跟着吃下眼上街我也莫浪姐，各位心间当姐姐正面的不门把子。你真正被西巴当人不让我西巴修，你在路内太转的先把张莫西巴嘞，把江头把人家的三二个当内当中，都要我当上班，你要问交班都班。吃饱的从前来了三趟嘞。先边这个明白在刚家动物也大事，今天这个要人我上街我也没拦截，对家先别先接难都别动物事嘛吧，对家先把事嘛拦西巴让事路吧也，这巴让事先接呢滚多一些多巴说。这日有些闹完了，几扎西巴扎木的， Dang we pa cha te pa le zhan zi de so rak pa ji. Ki dan de we min be ze nyer we zo se do re nga. San je nga ye mo lan jian zhou zhou sim jin tam je ji. Ye dan zhao bo ji be ze pa la me sha rang sar lu. Le ba rang so sin jir ne sar we ye xie to bar jo. Rang sen king bar jir ba le jin lan jin sen me be. Te pe sem jie be da yin da zu dong er nyong. Le dian zhe we min be ze yang po da nyong we la re jie. San jie nga ye mo lan jie king sen jie pe sem jie na. Te zi xi ba rang so lu ri ba rang so sin jir ni. Nyam ba ni jie dong do shui nin sin te pe pa cha jie. Da dui jin mo sung e le tab zun jin sen te ba le. So jue la me ne se jian zhe we nyer we ne se do. San jie nga ye mo lan jian jin sen da zui ji ba na. Ran zi me sa rang sa lui shi ba rang so sin ji re ne. Che le to me ye xie jue zhen me da nyue yin ba ye. Tep da mo dan ji ba dan jar dan le lo te mo pe. De we jar me sur son jan san jie nga ye mo lan ji. Te mo sen we ben ba lai ten ba sa wen dan sha. Do me shi ba do ba joy gan sun sen jie tam jie kun. Kun ye sen jie nga da nyai ten me zhe ba ye re song. Da da du me le lai ju le zhu ma lan zhi ban zha. Nga ne san jie to ma yin zhu zhu zhi ben de we se. Gun de zang bu mo lan jie sim jien dam jie ma le ba. Ju jie yin se zang jia yu wu xin jie nan ju do dian jie. Zhi me ri ba rang sa ne mo lan do jin de da be. De de sim jien tam jie gun jie wa sun ne ngon zan jia. Nye da sa ye sim ban zha dang sa yun zhong wa. Nye ma dong zhe long pe de ra nye gun de zang bo jie. Gun jie tu sa ran de jio nai kan sun sim jien tam jie ge. Nam jie de ye mo lan jie dong a ren jie zhuo ne. San jie to ba zhuo.
Okay, so now on page 40 of the Blue Book, the prayer of Kuntuzangpo. Ho, everything, appearance and existence, samsara and nirvana, has a single ground, yet two paths and two fruitions, and magically displays as awareness or unawareness. Through Kuntuzangpo's prayer, may all beings become Buddhas, completely perfected in the abode of the Dharmadhatu. The ground of all is uncompounded, and the self-arising great expanse beyond expression has neither the name samsara nor nirvana. Realizing just this, you are a Buddha. Not realizing this, you are a being wandering in samsara. I pray that all you beings of the three realms may realize the true meaning of the inexpressible ground. I, Kuntuzangpo, have realized the truth of this ground, free from cause and condition, which is just the self-arising awareness. It is unstained by outer expression and inner thought, affirmation or denial, and is not defiled by the darkness of unmindfulness. Thus, this self-manifesting display is free from defects. I, Kuntuzangpo, abide as intrinsic awareness. Even though the three realms were to be destroyed, there is no fear. There is no attachment to the five desirable qualities of sense objects. In self-arising consciousness, free of thoughts, there is neither solid form nor the five poisons. In the unceasing clarity of awareness, singular in essence, there yet arises the display of the five wisdoms. From the ripening of these five wisdoms, the five original Buddha families emerge, and through the expanse of their wisdom, the 42 peaceful Buddhas appear. Through the arising power of the five wisdoms, the 60 wrathful Herukas manifest. Thus the ground awareness is never mistaken or wrong. I, Kuntuzangpo, am the original Buddha of all, and through this prayer of mine, may all you beings who wander in the 3 realms of samsara realize this self-arising awareness, and may your great wisdom spontaneously increase. My emanations will continuously manifest in billions of unimaginable ways, appearing in forms to help you beings who can be trained. Through my compassionate prayer, may all of you beings who wander in the 3 realms of samsara escape from the 6 life forms. From the beginning, you beings are deluded because you do not recognize the awareness of the ground. Being thus unmindful of what occurs is delusion, the very state of unawareness and the cause of going astray. From this delusive state comes a sudden fainting away, and then a subtle consciousness of wavering fear. From that wavering, there arises a separation of self and the perception of others as enemies. Gradually, the tendency of separation strengthens, and from this the circle of samsara begins. Then the emotions of the 5 poisons develop. The actions of these emotions are endless. You beings lack awareness because you are unmindful, and this is the basis of your going astray. Through my prayer, may all you beings recognize your intrinsic awareness. Innate unawareness means unmindfulness and distraction. Imputing unawareness means dualistic thoughts toward self and others. Both kinds of unawareness are the basis for the delusion of all beings. Through Kuntuzangpo's prayer, may all you beings wandering in samsara clear away the dark fog of unmindfulness, clear away the clinging thoughts of duality. May you recognize your own intrinsic awareness. Dualistic thoughts create doubt. From subtle attachment to this dualistic turn of mind, dualistic tendencies become stronger and thicker. Food, wealth, clothes, home, and friends, the 5 actions of the senses, and your beloved family, all these things cause torment by creating longing and desire. These are all worldly delusions. The activities of grasping and clinging are endless. When the fruition of attachment ripens, you are born as a hungry ghost, tormented by coveting and desiring, miserable, starving, and thirsty. Through Kuntuzangpo's prayer, may all you desirous and lustful beings who have attachments neither reject longing desires nor accept attachment to desires. Let your consciousness relax in its own natural state. Then your awareness will be able to hold its own. May you achieve the wisdom of perfect discernment. When external objects appear, the subtle consciousness of fear will arise. From this fear, the habit of anger becomes stronger and stronger. Finally, hostility comes, causing violence and murder. When the fruition of this anger ripens, you will suffer in hell by boiling and burning. Through Kuntuzangpo's prayer, you beings of the 6 realms, when strong anger arises for you, neither reject nor accept it. Instead, relax in the natural state and achieve the wisdom of clarity. When your mind becomes full of pride, there will arise thoughts of competition and humiliation. As this pride becomes stronger and stronger, you will experience the suffering of quarrels and abuse. When the fruition of this karma ripens, you will be born in the God realms and experience the suffering of change and falling to lower rebirths. Through Kuntuzangpo's prayer, may you beings who develop pride, let your consciousness relax in the natural state. Then your awareness will be able to hold its own. May you achieve the wisdom of equanimity. By increasing the habit of duality, by praising yourself and denigrating others, your competitive mind will lead you to jealousy and fighting, and you will be born in the jealous God realm, where there is much killing and injury. From the result of that killing, you will fall into the hell realm. Through Kuntuzangpo's prayer, when jealousy and competitive thoughts arise, do not grasp them as enemies. Just relax and ease, then consciousness can hold its own natural state. May you achieve the wisdom of unobstructed action. By being distracted, careless, and unmindful, you beings will become dull, foggy, and forgetful. By being unconscious and lazy, you will increase your ignorance, and the fruition of this ignorance will be to wander helplessly in the animal realm. Through Kuntuzangpo's may all you beings who have fallen into the dark pit of ignorance shine the light of mindfulness and thereby achieve wisdom free from thought. All you beings of the three realms are actually identical to Buddhas, the ground of all, but your misunderstanding of the ground causes you to go astray, so you act without aim. The 6 karmic actions are a delusion, like a dream. I am the primordial Buddha, here to train the 6 kinds of beings through all my manifestations. Through Kuntuzangpo's prayer, may all you beings without exception attain enlightenment in the state of Dharmadhatu. Aho! Hereafter, whenever a very powerful yogin, with his or her awareness radiant and free from delusion, recites this very powerful prayer, then all who hear it will achieve enlightenment within 3 lifetimes. During a solar or lunar eclipse, during an earthquake, or when the earth rumbles, at the solstices or the new year, you should visualize Kuntuzangpo, and if you pray loudly so all can hear, the beings of the 3 realms will be gradually liberated from suffering through the prayer of the yogin and will finally achieve enlightenment.
네, 라니 Kuntuzangpo 지이들아, 소소 로방탐제 나 Kuntuzangpo 말이 좀 태통지 인도를 보나면 당지. 나 Kuntuzangpo 말이 좀.
So all of you disciples, and if any of you have the doubt, if you think I am not Kuntuzangpo, raise your hand.
대통령이 빼고 이제 Kuntuzangpo 삼바 sep지통에 셈이 이제 Kuntuzangpo리 람 Kuntuzangpo디 나에 좀 하고 그랬더니 난 뒤샤보네. 오 물론 대답하들 Kuntuzangpo 람서 제이들 우리 Kuntuzangpo리 진짜발 생주는 것은 그게 적상계 그게 세브라기죠. 그게 생긴 상지 이와 차로요래. 이제 Kuntuzangpo 람 Kuntuzangpo디 들이 딱발 들이 Kuntuzangpo가 세군 내록 정도들이 당신 제가 Kuntuzangpo 통조면 이제 Kuntuzangpo 람 Kuntuzangpo 제가 Kuntuzangpo 우리 Kuntuzangpo 세븐 남의 제이들 세븐을 세고 나와요. 이제 뭐 딱발 뭐 자야 이제 뭐요래.
So that's great. You shouldn't have any doubt. It is definitely the case that the ground of your mind is Samantabhadra, Kuntuzangpo. But it is just the mind when there's the fixation to I, the idea of I that pops up, and that then is what creates delusion. But the essence is that of Samantabhadra at all times. And so when we recite the prayer and then we remember that that's our essence, then we can immediately connect with that essence. So like it says in the Manjushri Namasamgite, there's complete Buddhahood or perfect Buddhahood in a single instant. So in one single instant, there's perfect Buddhahood. And so that is this, is Samantabhadra, and we remember that basis, then the path likewise becomes Samantabhadra. So if we always meditate on that essence, then the fruition likewise becomes Samantabhadra. So the ground, path, and fruition is Samantabhadra. And so it's really important that we always make aspiration prayers. That we recite this prayer. So Tashita Leg and long life to all of you also joining us online. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Garchen Rinpoche, for bestowing these incredible teachings for us and helping us to realize our true nature. We're beyond words grateful, and please continue to stay and teach us. We want to thank again our guest visiting Lama, Songsar Tulku Rinpoche, for attending our event. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to Drupal Rinpoche Dorje for answering our questions yesterday, and for Sherab Pasang Rinpoche. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. Thank you Tulku Chimi Dorje for attending. And thank you Khenpo Tenzin for answering our questions yesterday as well, and for helping us understand. And then we also want to thank our visiting Lama Traga for attending. And thank you to Abu Lama and Khenpo Tubsang and Ani Samtin. And thank you to Ani Dagme. And thank you to Virginia for your translation. And thank you to all of our staff. Thank you, Tom, for all the live streaming. Done a great job. And thank you to all of our staff in the office, Elizabeth and Mary and Judah, for making sure the facility runs smoothly. And thank you to all our volunteers and cooks in the kitchen. And thank you all for attending. And thank you everyone online for tuning in. And we'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
Sanjo Senjo Rinpoche Maji Wana Jijerche Jiva Nyamba Amebaya Kone Konga Bewa
I just.